Here's a little bit more in-depth video of the garden. Right here, I have potato beans, Apios americana, also known as American groundnut. Here I have potato onions that appear to be about to go to flower, which is exciting. If you're not familiar with potato onions, they stick them in the ground in the spring and they multiply in the ground like potatoes. Here I have sweet corn that I've replanted and soaked because squirrels dug up all the sweet corn. Radish, radish, radish. Broccoli, broccoli. Kohlrabi. Swiss chard. Cabbage, cabbage. Green onions. Back here I have Jerusalem artichoke. Where is that? Jerusalem artichoke. Jerusalem artichoke. Jerusalem artichoke. Big head of lettuce. Potato. 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 Whole lot of potatoes. Beets. Here I have walking onions. I don't know if I said that in the other video, but those are starting to flower too. And instead of a typical flower, it's going to be growing multiple sets of bulbs that you can just plant in the ground in the fall. Here I have rhubarb that I grew from seed. That one's from seed last year. Rhubarb. 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 And that's a clone I got a couple years ago. Here I have Welsh onions that are starting to flower. In here I have perpetual spinach that I got to survive my winter. This was my cold frame, and only these 4-ish plants survived my winter, so I'm letting them go to seed. Over here we have my apple trees that I've grown from seed. A lot of people might say you can't get a good eating apple from seed, which isn't guaranteed, which is true. But if they turn out to be half decent cider apples, which 90% of what you'll get would be a cider apple, I don't mind. I love cider. The volunteer mustard greens. Leeks that survived my winter. Looks like they're not flowering yet. This is a different variety of walking onion than those. I stole those from my sister's old house, and these were found at an old homestead in this area. Difference between these and those is these only grow basically a green onion. They don't really bulb, and they don't get that big either. Harder than heck to kill, though. My sister mowed over her patch. As long as she lived there, it just would not die. These, on the other hand, when you only plant a single set, get huge and multiply. Most of these spots with several, I only planted a single set. A lot of them are growing at least 5. If not more. I think that's 6 here. And they're starting to flower too. These ones are neat because the flower head will burst from here, which grows all the new sets. And then from that flower grows another. So it flowers twice in a single season. So by June or July, there will be another flower coming up out of the stalk that comes out of here. And then, of course, you've seen my potato bed. And here are my breeding project potatoes. I grew them from seed last year, kept them over winter in the fridge, and planted them out again to see how big of a harvest we can get. Some of them have red flesh, some of them have blue flesh, some are white, some are pink. All this is going fallow right now. I haven't planted anything, haven't weeded anything. This is my favorite volunteer though. This is field pennycress. And before these go to seed, these are my very first spring green. Because when they are fresh, it's like a cross between mustard leaf and something else that tastes good. Can't really name it right now. But these are my favorite and earliest greens. And in here are my bush peas. I planted all that red clover that's mixed in this fall, and it was supposed to die, but it did not. So naturally, it didn't pop up until after I sowed my peas. Oddly enough, I actually planted the mustard greens first. Those didn't pop up, so I threw out a ton of red clover to try and have a winter ground cover. That didn't work. So I just left it barren all winter. And then I planted peas this spring. And then the peas popped up. And then the mustard greens. And then the clover. But I'm not mad because look at that. That is just pretty. Green beans. Carrots, I'm letting go to seed right there and right over here should be perennial thicket bean coming up. I've never grown it from seed before, so I don't know how long it takes for them to come up in the spring. So if nothing happens for the next couple weeks, I'm just going to pull up this trellis and I'm going to put different beans here. Perennial thicket bean is the lima bean's wild relative, basically. And then I forgot to mention under that ladder is more potato beans, Apios americana. And living this close to woods, I love the friendly little volunteers I get because I can repot these and give them away to people. Or if they're in a convenient spot, keep them. That is a black raspberry. And right here by these potato beans, next to the potato onions, is a choke cherry, Prunus virginiana. Great for jelly. Forgot this apple tree. It's got some cedar apple rust, which isn't surprising considering it started from seed in January and was inside all year. And then just started getting acclimated in the last few weeks and repotted. Those started from seed last year. And this one this year. It is huge. But this is a cross between a red-fleshed crab apple and an eating red apple, unknown. My hope is that this is going to be a red-fleshed cider apple. But it's just really pretty. Look at that. That's insane. Either way, it's still gonna have a home. And here I am walking back behind the compost pile because there's even more goodies back here. The power company came through and cleared up, trimmed trees underneath this power line, and they clear cut the forest that was here because it was overgrown probably up to here with short trees. But back here I have some parsnips that I have going to seed. What else do I have here? A ton of mustard greens. Just volunteered because they're the gift that keeps on giving. I did not plant any of these. These are just popping up wherever they see fit. The treasure back here after they cleared out was this amazing quantity of American elder. More raspberry. If none of you know this, but wild black raspberries will come back with a vengeance after they get pruned heavily. I learned that in my old apartment. Here's a young plant, a young volunteer. These are called May apples. That little bud will grow into a delicious fruit that is incredibly toxic until it is 100% ripe. Mayapple is a native plant in my area, Midwest, and if you do not eat it at the exact right time, it could kill you. But it has an amazing citrusy flavor, which is worth the risk. I don't recommend anyone foraging without someone knowledgeable in the subject first. But take it from me, if you know somebody that knows something about Mayapples, you should give them a try. They're fully ripe when they're a soft and yellow color. Trillium, another native wildflower. Not edible, but they're cool. Another cool plant that is edible, it's called long-style sweet root. As the name implies, has a sweet root with a very licoricey flavor. I have not tried it, so do your research. But I will let you know shortly. Elderberry, 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 elderberry. Also, I might have been a little bit naughty. I came through here and I cleared out some of the invasive jewelweed, which is just in carpets all around here. But I planted some corn. In several spots, to be exact. There's another one. My plan's to have sort of a North American style milpa, letting all these native flora grow. That is all mayapple, by the way. But I'm gonna grow out some beans on the corn here in a couple days, once more of it starts to pop up. And then some squash. And I gotta get back here and clear out all of the jewelweed with a hoe. But I'll be careful. I forgot to mention some of the trees growing on the periphery of the clearing. This is a chokecherry tree. One of several. There's one growing right there in that patch of honeysuckle. And there's two more up towards the compost pile. Not to mention all the babies. And did I forget to mention ramps? Now, these aren't the best tasting ramp that I've tried in this area. There's actually two varieties I know of. One of them has a red root. And this one has a very small white root. But I don't know if you can see that, it's flowering, which is exciting, because that means I can collect some ramp seeds. They're kind of hard to see with all the invasive jewelweed. I walked further down the clearing and I found even more chokecherries. That's chokecherry. That's all chokecherry. 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 Tons of chokecherries. All through this lower clearing are chokecherries coming up from the old root systems of what was apparently a chokecherry stand. But look at this one right here. This guy is just leaning over, taking advantage of all the sunlight, and he is covered. in berries.